everyone. I'm just going to read to you the book or the poem A Pocketful of Rocks by Sherry Fitch and illustrated by Molly Boback, Toes in My Nose. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. What do you do with a pocket full of rocks? Well, you put those rocks in your brother's blue socks, and then you watch him walk with his socks full of rocks. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. That's what you do with a pocket full of rocks. And this poem demonstrates the two things we've been learning about this week, rhyme and repetition. Let's have a look at rhyme. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. What do you do with a pocket full of rocks? So what then is rocks rhyming with? Let's look. Well, you put those rocks in your brother's blue socks. If you said socks and rocks rhymes, you're right. Socks and rocks. That's right, socks and rocks. And then you watch him walk with his socks full of rocks. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. That's what you do with a pocket full of rocks. So the two things that are very important is the things in this poem that rhyme. Socks is the item, and it rhymes, rocks is the item, and it rhymes with socks. That's where they're putting it. The next thing we're going to look at is the repetition. Now, as I said before, repetition allows you to want to read the poem. It allows the poem to be flowing nicely and engaging to the reader. So we have a lot of repetition in here. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. What do you do with a pocket full of rocks? And that repeats itself down here. A pocket full of rocks, a pocket full of rocks. What do you do with the pocket full of rocks? Those are two what we call stanzas in a poem. And a stanza is a section of writing with more than one line. This stanza has how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's actually the same as the third stanza, which also has 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many lines does the second stanza have? If you said 5, you're right. This stanza is different than stanzas 1 and 3. Let's read stanza 2 together. Well, you put those rocks in your brother's blue socks, and then you watch him walk with his socks full of rocks. Now it's your turn. So now it's going to be your turn to create your own. I want you to think of somewhere where you can store an item. A pocket, a bucket, a container, a handful, a cupful in your hands, a drawer, anywhere where you can collect something. And some item that you might want to collect. I'm going to do a handful of grass for mine. So I'm going to start my poem with a handful of grass. A handful of grass, a handful of grass. What do you do with a handful of grass? Very simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in now. Now, I want you to have a look at this. If we knew that we had to rhyme rocks with something and the author chose socks, we have to now rhyme grass with something. What could grass rhyme with? Class, sass, bass, which is a type of fish, pass. So we're going to try to then figure out what we want to say next using the word that rhymes with the item we chose, which is grass. A handful of grass, a handful of grass. What do you do with a handful of grass? Well, you put not those rocks, that grass. You put that grass. Where are we going to put it that rhymes with grass? I'm going to say in Dad's bucket of bass, and bass is fish. Ew, imagine putting grass In with a bucket of fish. In Dad's bucket of bass. And you can see repetition happening here as well. Pocketful, pocketful, pocketful. What do you do with? What do you do with? Okay, let's circle our rhyming words now. We have grass and bass. Well, you put that grass in Dad's bucket of bass and then you watch him walk with his bucket of bass. Oh, bucket of grass. A handful of grass, a handful of grass. What do you do with a handful of grass? Well, you put that grass in Dad's bucket of bass and then you watch him walk with his bucket of grass. A handful of grass, a handful of grass. That's what you do with a handful of grass. And you can see that you've used rhyming and repetition to create your own poem now. So I want you to go ahead and try it yourself. Bye.